Hey guys, it's James here. Welcome to episode 2 of F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, and we are here for the Bahrain Grand Prix. If you did miss episode 1, be sure to go check that out. It was a great opening race for JNS Racing here around Australia, and now we're on to episode 2, and so we can see the upgrade that we're supposed to have for episode 2 on the chassis has actually failed, which is very frustrating, so we're going to develop it again. Send that chassis upgrade, make us level with Alfa Romeo. So you can see all the other upgrades will be coming after the Bahrain Grand Prix. We're going to develop the powertrain a little bit more before we head off to Bahrain. That'll come after Vietnam, so quite a long time afterwards, but that's fine. And yeah, we're just going to advance time.
We had a major issue on the production line earlier this week, so the entire development package for this weekend has failed. Check your R&D screen to order any redevelopments.
So this was the chassis upgrade that I just mentioned. I have already had a look at this and I have just reordered it. Just checking around, it's not anything else. I've just reordered that chassis upgrade, but we're going to qualifying here for the Bahrain Grand Prix. So here we are then for qualifying for the Bahrain Grand Prix. As we can see, just checking the setup. It's a setup I seem to use around all circuits. 55-55 differential, 3.6 wings. It's just really golden. It seems to work for me all the time. I'm going to show you my first qualifying lap because it wasn't raining, unlike in Australia, and I'm going to commentate on it. And then for the second qualifying lap, which is slightly better, I will let you guys watch that in full with no commentary, just hear the engine sounds. But for the first one, into my banker lap, was just understanding how much grip I could use, because I did tweak the differential, so how much traction I could get out of each corner. So up here we're in full engine mode, DRS, using all the ERS coming down here, hitting 208 miles an hour, braking just after the 100-meter board around turn 1. You don't want to hit that curb, and then turns 2 and 3 are absolutely flat out before you fly up towards turn 4. Basically into the desert, it's uphill and then down, braking very hard. Don't want to touch this curb or unsettle the car. You need to get a good exit into turns 5 and 6. They're very quick. So left, right, run a little bit wide there, and then that's going to compromise my exit out of turn 7. So you run a little bit wide there too into turn 8. It's a tricky braking zone, but we managed to do it just fine. Try and get a good exit, because it's a short blast down to the 2 trickiest corners on this circuit, turns 9 and 10. Turn 9 is flat out for hard braking. Turn 10, often you'll see me lock up there, but luckily I haven't locked up. And then engage the DRS onto the back straight down towards turn 11. Turn 12 is absolutely deadly. There's a curb that you don't want to touch. You just want to get as close as possible to it without touching the curb. Otherwise that will offset the car. If you have both wheels on the track and one on the curb, you're definitely going to spin. So we can see we stay well away from that curb on the inside of turn 12. Turn 13, good. Try and get as better exit as we can. Run a tiny bit wide. That's going to compromise the exit just a tad. So we can see Sebastian Vettel goes top on his first qualifying runs, but I'm sure none of the Mercedes cars have done their laps yet, and into the penultimate corner. See again, just missed that apex, which is perfect. Don't want to unsettle the car before the long straight. Get a good exit, engage the DRS. We've run out of ERS around the lap, but that is my first qualifying lap, a 1:28.6. And as we can see, that's put me 0.6 of a second ahead of Guan Yu Zhou, above all of our rivals, just behind the 2 Alpha Tauris there, so above both Alfa Romeos, both Haas cars, and both Williams cars. And now I'm going to show you my full qualifying lap, the one, which is a very good lap, except for one tiny mistake, but it's a really good lap, so enjoy this. It's as good a lap as I think I could probably do on a controller, and stringing the whole lap together, so enjoy.
qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves of our top three: Bottas, Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. Goodbye for now then, but we're really just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow. The stage is set for another enthralling race here in the Kingdom of Bahrain. A Ferrari stronghold in years gone by, but will they be able to add to their record today? There's no shortage of passing opportunities around the 3.36 miles of the Bahrain International Circuit, with the best at turn 1 of course, and then another soon into turn 4. 15 corners here, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, and we could see 1 or 2 flat spots into the tight left-hander of turn 10. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo and Perez, Sainz, Albon, Stroll and Esteban Ocon, Vettel, Norris, Pierre Gasly, James, Grosjean, Kvyat, Antonio Giovinazzi and Kimi Raikkonen, Magnussen, Russell, Joe and Nicholas Latifi. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
So as we can see, we're now on the grid for the Bahrain Grand Prix, starting 14th with Pierre Gasly just ahead of us, sandwiched between the two Alpha Tauris. As we can see, the strategy had a little bit of a play around, as you can see under there, but I'm just going to choose the basic one stop, take some of the fuel out of the car. It's going to be a basic one stop from mediums onto the hard tyres, and we'll see what we can do from 14th on the grid. As we can see, the 5 red lights come on. And it's lights out and away we go. The lights were on forever seemingly as we get past Pierre Gasly. He's really challenging Lando Norris. He's going to try and get squeezed by Sebastian Vettel in towards the pit wall. When Lando Norris comes sweeping across, that means we have to brake so early so we don't hit the back of Lando Norris. That's allowed Pierre Gasly to steam around the outside as he goes from 15th all the way up into 9th place. Now, as we can see, we're up into 12th behind Esteban Ocon, with Lando Norris challenging us down towards turn 4. We're going to side by side in towards this hard braking zone. We're going to almost hit the back of Esteban Ocon. We have to swing left. That's going to give Norris the inside line. We basically open the door for him and he's going to power past with his better traction. Vettel does exactly the same thing because that exit has been really compromised because we almost hit Ocon. As you can see, Grosjean trying to get involved as well. It's an absolute nightmare start. We've gone from 14th up into 12th and back down into 14th place. It's been an absolutely shocking start, really. It's not terrible, but with the actual launch that we had, we'd be expecting to do much better as we brake quite early. Don't know how much braking we're going to do because of how much fuel is in the car, so we just tried to brake quite early for turn 10 so that we didn't run wide, because that could have been even worse. But as we can see, we're quite a long way back from Sebastian Vettel. He is getting held up by Lando Norris. That Ferrari car is quicker than the McLaren car, so it must be quite frustrating for Vettel. As we can see, he did qualify 11th, but he's now in 13th place, which is very frustrating for Sebastian Vettel, as we're still in the place where we started, with Grosjean behind. He's the main rival. We said we will be fighting Haas all season, and I don't think that'll be any different, so we've got to keep Grosjean behind. That'd be ideal. Getting quite close to Vettel as he's part of this train, which is starting with Pierre Gasly, and then it's Esteban Ocon, then Lando Norris, then Sebastian Vettel, and then us as we cross the line for the end of lap 1. It's been an eventful first lap. Sadly, we've not gained any positions. It's not the worst start in the world, but with the launch we had, much nicer to be exactly in the position where Pierre Gasly was. But Lando Norris swiping across on the run down to turn 1 meant we just had to back out, so we didn't lose any front wings. We cut now onto lap 5. We've extended the gap to Giovinazzi, who's ahead of Grosjean, as we can see, sweeping up through turn 11 into turn 12. But we get caught on the curb, and that's meant we spun around, just as I mentioned in qualifying. As we can see, Giovinazzi goes past Grosjean, Zhou, both Williams cars, and Kimi Raikkonen. We've gone from, 14th place down to last. It's been an absolute disaster as we just touched the curb. As I mentioned in qualifying, it's absolutely deadly to do that. Just got 2 wheels onto the curb. That spun the car around, and this has gone from looking to catch Sebastian Vettel for 13th place to struggling to get up behind Nicholas Latifi for 21st. So this is all about recovery now as well. We've got 25 laps to go of this race. It's been an absolute nightmare for us. We are 4.8 seconds behind Latifi, 9 seconds behind Danny Kvyat. As we can see, the two stoppers as we cut onto lap 8 have made their first pit stop, so Sainz and Ocon are massively quicker than us. There's no point fighting Carlos Sainz. He's on a fresh set of soft. I'm on a set of medium tyres that have survived a big spin, so they're going to be absolutely flat spotted, and there's no way we can get past we can keep Carlos Sainz behind us. He's just going to breeze past onto the straight. But look how much we've closed up to Nicholas Latifi though. That's the positive thing, is that our pace is much quicker than that of our rivals. We see we've got a big chunk of wheel spin coming out of turn 1 into turn 2. That's going to give Esteban Ocon the run. He was the person who was just behind Pierre Gasly. That's where we should be, with a full pit stop in hand. But no, that spin has cost us very dearly. As we can see, we're 1.6 seconds behind Nicholas Latifi. He's got to be the first person that we've got to get past on track. As I say that, we cut onto the start of lap 10 on the pit straight. Nicholas Latifi seemed to go very slowly as Sainz and Ocon go side by side as we're going to try and dive down the inside. It's opportunistic, it's very aggressive, but we have got past Nicholas Latifi and made it stick. We're up into 21st place. Doesn't sound great, but it's just the building blocks of this recovery drive. If we can get up ahead of all of our rivals, that'd be ideal. As we can see, up onto lap 12, we're going to box this lap. These medium tyres are falling off the cliff really. We're running out of grip. They're quite worn. As we can see this massive train up ahead, and when I saw that train I thought I'm going to pit, because then I'm going to hopefully undercut all of my rivals, people like Raikkonen, people like Guan Yu Zhou, people like George Russell. They're the people we've got to be fighting. We've got to forget all about Esteban Ocon and Carlos Sainz. They're a full pit stop ahead of us. So you can see 56% on the rear left tyre. These medium tyres have gone off the cliff. We get strap on the fresh set of hards. Brilliant stop from the boys, 2.0 seconds. Really good pit stop. And now with what, 17 laps to go, if we could get up into P15 or P16, that'd be great. That'd be past all of our rivals. And that would be a good recovery drive. Obviously not ideal, we'd love to finish much higher, but the spin, we've got to be realistic with ourselves. We see Raikkonen's made his pit stop now. As we can see, Russell there, we're going to try and go round the outside of Kimi Raikkonen. And are we going to make it stick? Raikkonen's going to have a better exit because we're going to be compromised coming out of turn 2, so he's going to have a really good run of us up into turn 4. Up the hill we go towards that fast right-hander with a big braking zone. We do brake, we do outbrake Kimi Raikkonen in fact, and we get up into a net P20 because Latifi hasn't pitted. Now Latifi has pitted, so has Kevin Magnussen, so we've got past Magnussen. Here comes Russell, we're going to try and dive down the inside as our teammate Guan Yu Zhou has just finished, made his pit stop. As we can see, we've squeezed out George Russell there, actually made a tiny bit of contact with him, his front left end plate on my rear right tyre. Luckily no puncture for us, and I don't think he's got any damage either, which is good. We are running simulation damage in this career mode, meaning that any tiny touch normally results with some front wing end plate damage, but no damage for Russell. As we can see, we set our sights on Guan Yu Zhou, our teammate, our first inter-team battle, as it's James versus Guan Yu Zhou, breaking down in towards turn 1. We've got a great one. We're going to go down the inside. Zhou almost turns into us as he was trying to shut the door, but we have made it stick past Guan Yu Zhou, and we're up into 17th place. So the comeback drive is on. We just need to get past Grosjean and Kvyat, and then that'll be a very satisfying race. So we can see we are catching Danny Kvyat, who is catching Romain Grosjean all the time as the two stoppers make their second stops. And Grosjean and Kvyat go side by side. Grosjean with a huge lockup. They actually make contact, and that's going to really compromise them both coming out up the hill towards turn 4. As we can see, we're going to get a great run on Romain Grosjean in the slipstream with the DRS using the overtake. We're going to go round the outside of Romain Grosjean. And yes, we have got past the Haas car. That is another great statement, as we can see, just saying we are superior to Haas. Hopefully Guan Yu Zhou can get past Romain Grosjean. So you can see Leclerc and Perez have breezed by. I'm not even going to show you that replay because they're just much quicker. They're on fresh mediums. I'm on worn hard tyres. My hard tyres are now 7 laps old. So they are absolutely dead rubber compared to the medium tyres that Stroll and Leclerc and Perez have just put on. Same with Max Verstappen. There's no point fighting him. That Red Bull car, the second fastest car on the grid, versus this JNS racing car, which is, well, one of the back markers. You know, we're normally consistently around 15th place, so it's absolutely no chance that we're going to fight Max Verstappen, and we're just going to, hopefully he's going to give us a bit of DRS just to pull us a little bit further ahead of Romain Grosjean. As we can see, Carlos Sainz now on lap 23 trying to go down the inside of us. He also breezes past. There's no point us trying to fight him. If we can just sort of stay in 16th or 15th place, you know, with Esteban Ocon coming up behind, that would be good. We passed all of our rivals, so that would be fine. And that'd be a good recovery drive after that spin on lap 5, which was totally my fault. I just got the car caught up, and that's really just ruined our race, because with all these people two-stopping, this was a great opportunity for points, but it's not meant to be, I guess, as Ocon tries to go down the inside. coming into turn 2 now. We're side by side, but we actually get a better run than him going up the hill towards turn 4, and we've actually out-dragged Esteban Ocon all the way up towards turn 4. As we can see, we're running quite low on fuel and ERS, so it's a managing job. So we need to manage these tyres as well to get to the end of the Grand Prix. As we see, we cut to the end of that very same lap. Esteban Ocon is going to absolutely breeze past. He's so much quicker on those fresh mediums compared to me on my very, very worn hard tyres. You can see we're just in P16 now. George Russell retired from the session. Valtteri Bottas has run the race. As we turn onto the pit straight, we'll see the fireworks going off for Valtteri Bottas winning the race, but we weren't able to get anywhere near Esteban Ocon, which is a shame. So we can see we're going to come home and finish in P16, which is not great after the spin, but it's a good recovery drive nonetheless.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it. Let's have a quick look at how the driver standings have changed. More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
It's got to be Lando Norris, hasn't it? Smooth, confident and assured. I've got no doubt that he and his team are going to be over the moon with his performance today. I have to say Sebastian Vettel certainly caught my eye during today's race. Incredible driving. I know that's at odds with the official decision, but I think they deserve some recognition on a day where both of these drivers are at the top of their game.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
So as we can see, getting some more acclaim. We've just got to the end of level 2. Minus 4k damage deductions. That was actually, I saw when making the thumbnail, I clipped a tiny little bit off the front right end plate, but I didn't feel it, so that's all fine. If you have enjoyed this episode, please feel free to give it a like. Subscribe if you are new to the channel and you want to see more episodes of this career mode, hopefully in Vietnam, even though it's a circuit that I really do struggle at sometimes on this game. Hopefully we can get some points. Hopefully the upgrades will really help the car. So yeah, I'll see you guys in Vietnam. Later guys.